Last weekend, as my girlfriend and I were heading to the zoo, my cat suddenly started talking. It said, "Bring some grapes. The monkeys at the zoo love grapes. Give them grapes and they'll give you gold." The next day, when we happily arrived at the zoo, we found that many tourists were carrying large bags of grapes. The lion on the hilltop stared at everyone with green eyes, his mouth twisted into a grin that reached his ears. "I hate grapes. Who brought grapes into the zoo? I'll tear them to pieces." He then jumped onto me and brutally tore the head off the person next to me. My girlfriend said that the nearby zoo was opening this weekend, and she heard there were many rare animals there. She especially liked the snub-nosed monkeys and asked me to take her there. So, I prepared a big bag of peaches for her to feed the monkeys. While my girlfriend was in the restroom, I suddenly heard a strange sound. "Bring some grapes." I heard the monkeys at the zoo love grapes. There's gold hidden under the fake mountain where the monkeys live. If you feed them grapes, they'll happily give you gold. Then you'll have all the good days you want. I widened my eyes in surprise, thinking I was hallucinating. But when I looked closely at the cat, it stopped talking. Do monkeys like grapes? I thought monkeys like peaches. And if there was really gold under the fake mountain where the monkeys live, how come no one found it when the zoo was built? But it's better to be safe than sorry. If there's really gold at the zoo, wouldn't I get rich? There were only a few grapes left at home, and I wanted to order some takeout, but strangely, all the grape stores nearby were sold out. Anyway, I still had some bananas and peaches at home, which I could feed the monkeys. I wondered if I was under too much stress recently, causing me to hallucinate. It's just a trip to the zoo to see animals. How did it become a treasure hunt? I must be thinking too much. I smiled self-deprecatingly and immediately put the bananas and peaches into my bag. But I never expected that a simple trip to the zoo would completely change my life. Early the next morning, we drove to the zoo. A long queue had already formed at the entrance. I looked at the tourists in front of me and gasped. Most people were carrying large bags of grapes, their eyes filled with an indescribable excitement and greed. Everyone was vigilantly sizing each other up, as if they were afraid someone would steal their precious treasure. Could it be that besides me, everyone else can understand what the cat is saying? I suddenly felt that this matter was revealing a strange aura. Even if there was gold, could so many people share it? It might even come with a huge price, so forget it. Just as my girlfriend went to buy milk tea, a man approached me and put his hand on my shoulder. "Chen Feng, do you remember me? I'm your senior, Song Yichuan. Look at those people. They must have all heard that white cat talk last night." "What white cat?" Song Yichuan looked around and pulled me aside. I remembered him, but we weren't close. We probably hadn't spoken more than 10 sentences in total. He vigilantly looked around and whispered in my ear. "Last night, I went to a bar with friends. Who knew I'd meet a cute white cat on the way home? It rubbed its head against my leg and actually started talking. It told me to use grapes to please those monkeys because they're responsible for guarding the gold under the fake mountain. As long as I make them happy, they'll give me the gold." I was drunk at the time and thought it was a hallucination. I even thought it was funny. But look, everyone has grapes. That means they also saw the cat. If I can really get the gold, I'll be a billionaire. It's all my fault for thinking it was a hallucination and not preparing enough. Now it's too late. So much gold, and I can't get any of it. He clenched his teeth, wishing he could slap himself a few times. My dad got cancer. All the money at home is almost spent. If I had money, my dad could be saved. He's still in the early stages. After the operation, he could live for at least 10 years. I heard that Song Yichuan's family was struggling when I was in school. He really needed the gold more than I did. His disheartened back view fell into my eyes. I clenched my teeth and, after much deliberation, looked at him. "Actually, I brought some grapes, but there are only a few left. I was going to eat them myself. If you need them, I'll give them to you." "Really? Brother, you're so kind. But what about you? Don't you want money?" "Actually, I don't believe in such things. I'm just here for the fun, no need to thank me. Chen Feng, you're my savior. Thank you. If I get that gold, I'll definitely repay you." I didn't mind his words and took the grapes out of my bag and put them in his hand. "Okay, go buy your ticket quickly. It was almost your turn." Song Yichuan was overjoyed, holding the grapes, and hurriedly ran to the back of the line to queue again. Finally, my girlfriend and I followed the crowd to the first stop of the zoo. "Dear tourists, this is the first stop of our zoo, the Lion Pavilion. The majestic lions are right there, allowing you to experience the king's aura up close. There are also various rare birds and beasts waiting for you, with endless excitement and thrills. Especially the snub-nosed monkey acrobatics show, the scheduled little guys are humorous and cute, guaranteeing to make you laugh your heads off. Come with me quickly." The tourists were full of longing, eagerly anticipating the animals they would see next. My girlfriend pulled me forward and whispered to me, "Didn't you say you met your senior Song Yichuan? Why didn't you see him come in?" I started to worry. If Song Yichuan didn't come, how would he get the gold? If others took it all, he wouldn't have a chance. This zoo was different from before. If you missed the entry time, it would close. At the moment the gate closed, I still didn't see Song Yichuan come in. But next to me were a group of tourists from other places who came by bus, and some were residents of our community. Since the zoo was close to my home, everyone came to join the fun. Just as we looked at the lion in the glass enclosure, it suddenly laughed strangely, its mouth twisted into a grin that reached its ears. Then it stood up like a human. Immediately after, the lion roared, revealing its sharp black teeth. Its eyes were wide open, looking angry, but the next moment it suddenly started talking. "I hate grapes. Who brought grapes into the zoo? I'll tear them to pieces. The crowd thought it was special effects and laughed heartily, but the next moment, the lion suddenly smashed the glass and jumped to my side, brutally tearing the head off the person next to me. My girlfriend was covered in blood. She screamed in horror and rushed into my arms. Everyone present cried out in fear and started running in all directions. Then, a group of staff wearing clown uniforms suddenly appeared. They were expressionless, like robots, and rounded up all the tourists carrying bags of grapes. The crowd instantly became chaotic. The lion's eyes rolled around, making a strange cackling sound. You ought to try your luck and get some ill-gotten wealth, but I get nauseous when I see grapes. Didn't you notice there's a poster outside saying no grapes are allowed when visiting the lions? If you don't scream or make a fuss, I'll swallow you whole and give you a quick death. Otherwise, it will be very cruel. It suddenly lay on the ground and opened its bloody mouth, extending several frantically wriggling black tentacles from its mouth. Black liquid kept dripping onto the ground, smelling incredibly foul. The tourists were furious, cursing, but they were still taken into the glass enclosure by the staff. Immediately, there was a bloodbath in the glass enclosure, and the entire room was covered in blood. Screams flowed in the air. I heard the sound of flesh tearing and the lion's chewing sounds. I felt a wave of nausea and almost threw up. My girlfriend's palms were sweaty, and she clutched me tightly, not daring to let go. Everyone couldn't leave the zoo and could only hide nearby, crying bitterly. The lion's bloody fangs gleamed coldly in the dim light. The people who brought grapes into the zoo are finally all dead. That's great. Now the surviving humans can start visiting the next exhibit. Have a good time, everyone. There's a hotel over there where you can rest. If you're tired, get some good sleep. There are more surprises waiting for you. I held my breath and clenched my girlfriend's hand, feeling a bad premonition. The staff walked in front, and we followed them into an underwater tunnel. I looked closely and saw that what was swimming inside were not fish, but countless torn corpses, floating on the surface of the water, some with bulging eyes.